You may have a bag that can carry this, or maybe even this, and probably not this, but can that bag that you have carry all of these at once while maintaining the proper level of protection for all of those while you are out and about at game night? Probably not. And that's why if you like fancy ass deck boxes like me and want to make sure they are protected, you should be looking at Cavern Hold. Welcome to Absolute Cardboard, and today we are taking a look at not just one but two bags from Cavern Hold, the Armory and the Fortress. And for full disclosure, this video is sponsored by Cavern Hold. These are review units that I asked them for. I reached out to them and got no money up front, and no requirements on my review. Though if you do decide you want one and you decide to buy one through my affiliate link in the comments or via the QR codes, I will get a small portion of that sale. Now, both the Armory and the Fortress are somewhat similar, but with a few key differences. With these bags, I think there are two distinct features: the multi-level approach and the internal modular support. And the modular support is where I would like to start, since I have not seen anything so capable in a gaming bag before. Here is the empty base of the bag, and as you can see, the walls are lined, but not just for pleasure. The grooves here will serve as housing for these dividers. Each bag comes with a set of dividers that will break the base of the bag into pretty much whatever dimensions you might need. The lid of this part contains 4 zipper sealed mesh pouches, 2 smallish ones side by side on the top, one large landscape oriented one, and then one on the side. There's another pouch there that kind of actually slides behind the other 3. On the sides of this area are 2 buckled straps, which is to ensure that the lid doesn't flop all the way open if you don't want it to. If you go into these pouches for dice or tokens, you may forget that they're open when you seal the bag and then reopen it, and your dice may go flying. If you don't need them, just unbuckle them and tuck them away, but I do like being able to see everything all at once while I'm kind of deciding what deck to grab and what tokens I need and stuff like that. To close up this particular level, just simply zip it shut, which is what I will usually tell the most inane of the commenters on this video. If you'd like to be a part of that, feel free to leave an inane comment below. But then we get to the next portion of this bag, which is also another level, but is also like actually kind of on another level. You'll notice similar side buckles for the same purposes as the lower level. However, the floor of this level, instead of being super spacious like the bottom one, is actually pretty shallow, with a large mesh pouch taking up the entirety of that space. The upper lid of this level has only 3 mesh pouches, which is not that bad, but one of them is vertically aligned and takes up almost about half the lid, with 2 horizontal pouches on the right side. And when you zip up this level and take a look at the bag as a whole, you get this very aesthetically pleasing bag. And while we're here, let's break down the outside of this bag. As expected, it comes with a handle, as most bags do, and it has zippers. It has this snazzy Cavern Hold logo, and these sides have attachments for the matching shoulder strap that does come with the bag. The back has some loops in case you want to adjust how the strap sits. That way you can wear it across your body like a strap style or like a fanny pack style, and don't give me that look. Both you and I know fanny packs are very cool. And maybe most importantly for some people, it has this sleeve that allows you to stack this on luggage and wheel it around whenever you travel. Each bag also comes with a pair of straps for rolling playmats and what have you, and keeping them from really kind of sprawling out in the bag. Each bag does come with its own set of dividers, and the dividers are really what unlock the potential of these bags. So let's head back inside the bag and I'll show you exactly what I mean. So here we have that empty bottom level, which is framed by hard plastic and lined with ribbed foam. And each bag will come with at least one divider that cuts across the entire back. And then from there, you can use these medium-sized dividers to further cut those sections. And then these small dividers to cut those sections into even smaller sections. Now, let's talk about these dividers for a moment. They are, for all intents and purposes, very hard foam. But they are just that, hard foam. And the strength of the divider isn't the only thing to enforce the protection in this bag. For example, this is the longest divider and it cuts the area in half, as I mentioned before. But you can easily see this isn't supporting anything and will even pop out of its intended groove if enough pressure is applied. However, once you start placing dividers on opposite sides of that long divider, you start to see that the dividers themselves start reinforcing the other dividers. So as long as you have some pressure on both sides of the divider, it starts getting pretty secure. Some of you won't be satisfied with that, so I'm gonna use all my masculine energy to break one of these medium dividers in half, in one take, here directly on the camera. Now that display of raw power should give you a better idea of the strength of these dividers, and then you can make your own decision with that in mind. There we go. And actually, now that I've broken it in half, I actually have 2 of these smaller dividers. So there you go. Now that I've needlessly destroyed a functional part of this bag, let's see how well it actually protects your deck boxes with something that I like to call the table test. Now, the table test is something I think is fair in the limits of testing something like this, essentially a fall from the top of a table to a hardwood floor. That kind of simulates what I generally would imagine a local game store situation would be, or at someone's house for game night, and you accidentally knock this thing over. Now, in the bag, I have 5 different deck boxes of varying sturdiness and manufacturing materials. We have the Monolith 3D printed deck box with my Mr. House deck. We have the Iris 3D printed deck box with my Kuja deck. We have a Boulder with my Afara deck, the Quick Draw with one of the Final Fantasy precons, and a ZCLA keyword jumble from Amazon holding my Aisha Tanaka deck. I'll have links to all these in the description in case any of them catches your fancy. Now, I've set up the dividers so that each deck box does have a bit of wiggle room, though packing them as tightly as possible would make them more secure. But again, I'm just trying to test the limits as best I can do, so let's head to the table. And look, nothing busted, nothing opened, everything's fine. Now, of these 3 specifically, I think the Boulder would probably have popped open and the cards would have been strewn about. The Monolith might have cracked, or possibly this token part on the bottom would have kind of popped off. And the Iris, well, the Iris probably would have shattered to a million pieces because this thing is built to be fancy, not durable. And yet, after a table drop in the Armory, it's all good in the hood, man. What can I say? And then it's really kind of a testament to the inside supports, but the outside as well. See, it's got this sleek nylon material, which is durable, but also weather resistant. And I live in a desert, a freaking goddamn desert. So I don't really experience much weather per se, but I did pour some water on this thing and it wicked right off. So that's a win. Now, that material is also used for the handle, the luggage strap, the shoulder straps, and it makes the entire package feel really premium. Now, let's talk about some of the differences between the Armory and the Fortress. The base area of the Armory is about 406 millimeters wide, 280 millimeters deep. In total, the bag is about 180 millimeters tall, of which roughly 50 millimeters is taken up by the top level. The Fortress, on the other hand, is about 445 millimeters wide, 325 millimeters deep, and about 200 millimeters tall, with the top level taking up roughly that same 50 millimeters. And if you do get one of these, and some of the measurements are slightly off, I hope you give me some grace. I am not familiar or the best. I'm not familiar with the best practices of measuring fabrics and how to be as accurate as possible. And to be honest, trying to measure fabric this long and this big with calipers is a special kind of hell I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. Now, the Armory comes with 10 dividers, all about 78 millimeters tall, which are the shorter ones. Now, you'll get 1 short divider, and that's height, that goes the width of the bag. You'll get 4 medium dividers that go about 180 millimeters, and 5 small dividers at about 86 millimeters wide. Now, the Fortress comes with all those dividers, but it also comes with an entire set that's taller to accommodate the taller size of the Fortress. Those taller ones, they measure at about 108 millimeters tall. The short one is about 89 millimeters wide, the medium one is about 208 millimeters, and the long divider is about 413 millimeters long. 10 dividers for the Armory, and 20 in total for the Fortress. Cavern Hold also has kind of like individual listings on their site for extra dividers if you need those for more specific uses, or you want to break them in half for a YouTube video. And instead of just 1 shoulder strap that would come with the Armory, the Fortress actually comes with 2. It's obviously bigger, and if you load up this thing with 20 or so deck boxes, carrying it all on 1 shoulder is gonna hurt. With those 2 shoulder straps, you can use the loops on the back to rig up kind of a backpack system to ease some of the burden from your just 1 shoulder. And you'll notice that the zippers on the Fortress have these overlapping loops, which is a dead giveaway for what types of situations you may find yourself in with the Fortress. Now we get to the most important part of the video. Who are these for? And as much as it pains me to say, not everyone. If you have just 1 or 2 deck boxes and you just bring those and maybe like a loose bag of tokens and a playmat, these are both going to be overkill. But I can think of a few use cases where I cannot recommend one of these highly enough. Say for example, you're traveling to a Magic Con, as Magic players would probably want to do. You want to bring a ton of decks, playmats, dice, stuff to get signed by your favorite artists or your favorite content creators. The Fortress is quite simply the best luggage for a gamer that I could probably imagine, and I can imagine some fucked up things. The sheer space, the thought put into the details for travel, like the locking zippers, the luggage strap, the durability, it's really kind of the ideal bag for the big traveling, big gaming person. Hell, you could probably fit a Switch or a Steam Deck in there for when you inevitably go 0-2 in the tournament and drop and have nothing else to do all weekend because you forgot to list all your lands on the deck registration sheet. The Armory, I think, is probably one of the better game night bags out there. You get all the customization and durability and protection of the Fortress, but in a much sleeker package that I do think you can wield on a single shoulder, even loaded to the brim. For example, my last game day, I took a full Commander deck bouquet, about 6 decks, as well as a bunch of decks for the co-op Lorcana scenario Palace Heist, which is another thing to keep in mind with these bags, and it's something that they excel at, which is board game transportation. I assume most of you who play TCGs also have probably dabbled here and there in board games, and let me show you how those kind of work with these systems. For example, this is the box for Palace Heist. And it's not the biggest thing in the world, and I probably could have fit this into one of my larger bags, but not this and 6 Commander decks, and not with playmats for everyone else. And one of the biggest strengths of these Cavern hold bags is that you can deconstruct larger things and put them into more appropriate storage. Palace Heist has this board, which is just a big folded up rectangle. In the box, it's responsible for a lot of empty air that is required aside from like the deck boxes and stuff. And with a bag like the Cavern hold, you can actually use these larger pouches for large boards. And not only can you use these for better gaming experiences, I actually made a compartment for kind of like my everyday stuff. I've got a microfiber cloth that I always carry with me, a knee brace because I'm old, frail, and I desperately need my glasses. But I also keep my everyday carry stuff in the zip pouches on the top level, stuff like, my AirPods, I got a utility knife, chapstick, all that good stuff. And most importantly, for both of these bags, they're kind of the only thing so far that I felt comfortable carrying some of the more delicate 3D printed deck boxes in, and I like those things being fancy, not necessarily always super tough. I am of the opinion that deck boxes can be tough and super durable on their own, but they don't have to be, and they probably shouldn't always be. Some should be ornate, some should be cool, fancy, fidgety, and now I can feel comfortable carrying these things around in situations where I may just randomly bump into people or accidentally drop them or just have them go through the rigorous life of a professional gamer. And I do think that for some people, it's worth investing into things that protect the things that protect our cards and other stuff like soup. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more under the radar gaming accessories. And if you want to check out some cool 3D printed deck boxes, feel free to check out this playlist, I think over here. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you around.